Hey guys, it's Dave. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in as always. Today I just wanted to take a quick look at AST SpaceMobile. They made big headlines this past week and the stock is down over 20% on the news. So I thought it'd be a good time to take a quick look at the stock, see what's going on. If at these levels, I think it might be a buy, a hold, or a sell. Before we dive into that, though, I hope you'll consider hitting subscribe and like. That always helps out with the channel. And with that out of the way, let's dive into the latest around AST SpaceMobile and their recent announcements. As the first pure-play direct satellite-to-mobile service company to be publicly tradable, AST SpaceMobile has developed a small but dedicated following among retail investors. However, as they develop their technology, the company has brought in little in the way of revenues, with growing operating losses as they attempt to bring 5G coverage to the masses from space. The stock is certainly not for the faint of heart, as dwindling cash reserves have called into question their ability to fund their satellite constellation. But the company has made headlines this past week with new strategic investors, including Google, and additional share sales. The question now is, will this new infusion of capital be enough to get them past the finish line? The difficult reality of the space-based internet business is that it requires massive amounts of capital to develop and launch your spacecraft, with revenues only coming in once the bulk of the constellation is already operational. After all, nobody wants only partial coverage with their cell phone and intermittent periods of downtime. Over the past couple years, AST has made several impressive technical achievements as they work towards this goal. Their Blue Walker 3 satellite, which is estimated to be twice the size of a Starlink V2 Mini by mass, was launched successfully in September of 2022. In April of 2023, the company achieved the first ever direct satellite-to-cell phone call using regular, unmodified smartphones from Texas to Japan in partnership with AT&T. In another first, the Blue Walker 3 satellite communicated with regular smartphones at 4G speeds above 10 megabits per second during testing. Finally, in September, their first 5G connection was achieved. Currently, the first 5 of their next-generation Blue Bird satellites have been fully funded and are due to launch in March on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. However, the company has been searching for additional funding as they attempt to build out a more powerful Block 2 version of the satellite to complete their constellation. A company filing disclosed that they would need about 20 Bluebirds in orbit to cover most of the commercially attractive mobile markets, and the company would need to raise between $550 to $650 million in order to build and launch them. Recently, AST SpaceMobile released 2 press releases just 34 minutes apart from each other on January 18th after the market close that caused the stock to crash a whopping 22%. First of all, they had secured strategic investments from AT&T, Google, and Vodafone to the tune of $155 million, as well as released plans to draw on their existing credit facility for another $51 million. This would provide $206.5 million in financing for that upcoming constellation. Secondly, they would launch a new public offering of $100 million in common stock at a price of $3.10 per share, or a 25% discount from where the stock had closed that day. While it was very encouraging to get buy-in from the likes of Google, AT&T, and Vodafone, new shares being issued at such a steep discount was difficult for many investors to stomach, especially when the company was already trading over 50% down from their go-public price. Perhaps the most impressive feat that AST has achieved so far outside of their technical accomplishments is actually the wide range of strategic partners, agreements, and memorandums of understanding they have signed with mobile network operators, which should allow them to quickly scale and reach billions of customers once the constellation comes online. However, SpaceX's Starlink, originally designed to be connected to an antenna either at home or on planes, trains, boats, or other vehicles, has now officially just launched their own first satellite with direct-to-cell phone technology. The company recently demonstrated their first text messages using a direct satellite connection. They still have a long way to go in terms of demonstrating higher speeds and building out a wider constellation of cell phone satellites, but they definitely have the funding and the capacity to make it happen. In addition, they can also launch their satellites at cost, estimated to be around the $20 million figure, while they charge $67 million per launch to the likes of AST and others. They've also signed an agreement with T-Mobile to bring space-based broadband connectivity to that cell network. Meanwhile, Amazon is investing billions of dollars in their own Kuiper constellation of over 3,000 satellites, and they plan to provide direct-to-cell service as well. In fact, ASTS partner Vodafone has also made a deal with Amazon, perhaps showing that they are not completely committed to the AST Bluebird constellation. These two giant companies have multi-billion-dollar budgets at their disposal, which could make it hard for a startup like AST SpaceMobile to compete in this capital-intensive business. There's also another startup called Link Global, which is attempting a similar constellation of their own and are going public via SPAC right now. Link has also carved out some agreements with various telecoms around the world for their satellites. My personal rating on AST SpaceMobile stock is a hold, and I do not currently have a position in the company. In my opinion, investors should brace themselves for an extremely bumpy ride, as even after these current capital raises, it looks like the company may need to find additional funding to bring their constellation to fruition. While their technology demonstrations have been impressive, and they've amassed a good deal of partnerships with telecom operators, this investment would certainly fall into the high-risk, high-reward category. The market cap of AST currently sits below $700 million, making it a challenge to continue to raise capital. The number of shares outstanding has also increased by a huge 60+% this year, as investors have been diluted to fund satellite buildouts. Potential competitors have much more funding at their disposal, and in the case of SpaceX, are also able to launch their own satellites much more cheaply than they charge AST. However, if the company can manage to launch their Bluebird constellation and reach profitability, outsized gains do seem possible. But we also can't rule out the possibility that continued funding will be a problem and could lead to bankruptcy. Perhaps their lead on the technology front and their impressive performance with their Blue Walker 3 satellite could make them an acquisition target for a larger company, though. All in all, AST has made many accomplishments, but the future is still far from certain. Proceed with caution. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I feel like this is a bit of a level-headed take, so probably going to anger both the bulls and the bears. If you did enjoy this video, please do hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a great week. Bye for now.